So how exactly were you involved in the Keeping Tabs project?
We were students when they were really being filled. And I think my years, or the years around me, were mostly tasked with collecting tabs from every known or every possible source and filling them up.
What memory stands out in your mind about this project?
I guess when I think about the project, I mainly think about how we would use, sorry, looking up, don't say it. I mainly think about how we would use any opportunity to try to fill up the glass boxes. And so I remember like when we didn't want to go out to recess when it was cold out, we would go to Mr. Walters' classroom and fill in the pop tabs. We would take the glass blocks home, and it would be so exciting that you got to take it home and fill it up more. So I guess just using every opportunity to fill it up.
So how did you feel about the project while you were a student at CBS?
The project was really exciting. Everyone wanted to take part in it. They wanted to fill up the blocks, and I remember there was a competition where people got to submit their designs, and that was a big deal about what you were going to create and who was going to win it. So it was just, I guess, an exciting time for us to be able to take part in it.
So how do you think the project impacted the CDS community and the neighborhood?
Well, I think there's many perspectives in how that happened. How it came together was kind of surprising. I remember I was away in the Army, and then one time I came home, and then suddenly the entire thing is built. And I said, wow, I just didn't expect that. And just talking to people that had seen it happen, seen it all coming together in the ceremony that they put together. I remember there was a lot of talk around the community and a lot of appreciation for the entire project.
I think also on a personal level, it helped us quantify. It helped us quantify the number of Jewish people and the number of people in general that were killed in the Holocaust. Like, you hear the number 6 million, and it's kind of hard to understand how many people that was, and to have this visual representation and actually be putting in each individual pop tab. That really struck home with helping to quantify the number.
How has working on this project influenced you, your outlook on life, and or your worldview?
So as a grandson of two Holocaust survivors, and most of their families had been killed in the Holocaust, I can relate to the situation that this project stands for. And I think both the involvement in that project and my education in community and beyond has allowed me to always remember the circumstances that that project strives to represent, and every day I try to remember that in particular.
I think working on the project also helped bring home the idea of having to always remember the Holocaust and learn more about it. That's something that we're taught about. We learn about the Holocaust, 8th grade. That's the main focus of it. And we have the Holocaust dinner at the end, which was really touching. But then also being able to see this project come together, it really brings home the importance of learning about the Holocaust and meeting as many survivors as we can, and making sure that we carry the story along and keep it teaching everyone else about it, to future generations.
So, going off on that, what can we do to keep the sculpture alive for CDS students today?
It's kind of hard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think definitely an introduction to how it was put together, what efforts were made to get each tab into those blocks and why those students did that, and just kind of a reminder, maybe annually or through a certain curriculum where they could teach every incoming or every new middle school student what happened.
Yeah, I think the annual part of it is what I thought of as well, finding a way to, just walking by the monument, you can't not be touched by it. It automatically sparks your attention or stirs up whatever feelings from just seeing it, and then when you walk through it as well. But I think having some form of an annual event or some form of a learning opportunity around it, and maybe finding a way to bring the values or the importance of that monument and the Holocaust and relating it to our current times. So bringing it to the present could help keep it alive.
So what advice do you have for students working on Keeping Tabs 2.0? Us, we would very much like to hear it.
I think having an element of personal connection would be really helpful. If you could, have a tour or somehow show the sculpture, and then also have interviews with survivors, with family members, with the people who worked on it and are currently working on it, finding a way to incorporate all of that into the actual structure, I think would be a nice part to add to it.
Absolutely, things like these, getting alumni to come talk, and you can absolutely relate to us because we walk through those hallways and we sat in those classrooms, and you can imagine and appreciate the sculpture that is now complete.
How can the sculpture teach young people not only about the Holocaust, but also about the injustice and prejudice and the persecutions that are happening today?
I think that the current curriculum that is taught about the Holocaust, if I'm not mistaken, at CDS or Community Day, strives to keep reminding and appreciate the global and contemporary situations that are not only occurring but also proliferating in some ways. And I think the sculpture itself is a representation that we cannot forget that those things have happened and still do happen. And to integrate that into the sculpture and the program would definitely be a key aspect, I think.
I think the sculpture also just serves as a daily reminder. You can't walk by it and not notice it, or even if you see it every day, just by being around it, I think it kind of stirs up something, or you appreciate or notice something different or think about something different from it. And it serves as a platform for learning more, to learn more about what it means or why it's there, the history of the Holocaust. And it's a way to connect you back to the present. And right, it's all in some ways tangent. You learn more about what's going on in our current events.
Have you ever experienced ignorance about the Holocaust, and how has the Keeping Tabs project impacted your reaction to the experience?
Ignorance about the Holocaust, absolutely. I think I can appreciate it because we were prepared. We were educated on those events, both in our time at Community Day and just by our communities, being Jewish individuals. And I remember from Community Day I went to high school, and what struck me there was the Holocaust curriculum was 1 week during my junior year, and it didn't really cover the bases. But I will say that I don't think people aren't curious. I just don't think the resources are widely available for them to appreciate what happened. What was the second part of the question?
How has the Keeping Tabs project impacted your reaction?
So if I have and continue to come across any confusion or ignorance about the Holocaust or any questions, I try to do my best to educate or just remind the circumstances that brought myself to my current situation with knowing about it all.
We can leave it there.
I guess that I just have one final question, and do you think that this sculpture has impacted you on a personal level? And if so, how?
Has it impacted me on a personal level? I think it definitely has. I think it's impacted me more personally now that it's all come together, maybe a little bit more than when I was actually doing it. While we were doing it, it was in some ways fun to be putting in the pop tabs and to be seeing how many we were accumulating. And I think at a certain point, we weren't sure if we were going to be able to finish it or not. But now that it's actually put together, it's really moving. I went there for the first time, I think last summer, maybe a few summers ago, and just like walking through it and seeing how big it is and the number of pop tabs that are there, and like the names that are on the ground, I think in circles going around, it touches you. It's very emotional just being in it. And I think it really, makes me feel very connected to the Jewish people in like the larger sense, and especially I think the Jewish community in Pittsburgh, and it connects you to the number of people who have worked on putting it together, from like putting the tabs in or collecting the tabs and knowing that these tabs have come from all across the world, and just realizing that it's so much bigger than just the people who worked on it or like specifically put it together, was very moving, I thought.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you guys.